back in late 2025, the Rongai rockers were still spending their time at the Tanzania border. Together, the young cats were able to survive and make it through those last few months as nomads, though it wasn't without difficulties. The area they were in was a crossing point of other nomadic lions, meaning the brothers had to be careful to not get into serious conflicts. The month prior, the oldest and coalition's leader, Olonkera, was out of sight for a few days before showing up back with some minor wounds on his body. He was also spotted retreating from two other lions who were chasing him, indicating he most likely got into a fight prior, but luckily for him, he was able to rejoin his brothers and recover rapidly. Things remained calm for some time. The five brothers were seen prowling, hunting, and resting together, and with the lionesses from the Salas pride from time to time. At the start of December, the brothers managed to take down a hippo, showcasing how skilled and powerful they've become so far. They will be busy feeding on this large kill during the next few days, as well as guarding it from the numerous scavengers eager to get hold of it. The brothers successfully enjoyed their kill while protecting it for a while until they got a surprising guest. A fully grown lion arrived to the hippo kill, or at least what was left of it. This big cat's name is Okirikoi, and he's not unfamiliar to the Rongai rockers, or even their fathers. He was chased off months ago from a buffalo kill by Olonkera and one of his brothers. The large lion took over the meal without much concern, about two of the Rongai rockers watching him in silence, not daring to confront him. Okirikoi got his fair share until Olonkera eventually arrived and chased him off with his younger brothers, taking the carcass back. It was a good thing that the encounter didn't escalate into a physical clash. But as time went on, something strange was noticed. All the lions were regularly seen throughout the month, all but one. One of the youngest members of the coalition has been out of the radar for almost all of December, which quickly got the public's attention. The missing cat was Olubi. The last time he was seen was at the start of the month. He was apparently seen chasing two rival lions alongside one of his brothers. For reminder, Olubi was the one who got injured in a fight against other lions back in August. He was able to recover well afterward, while being watched over by his older brother, Olonkera. His absence became worrying as many things could have happened to him, whether by natural causes or else. Concern was at its peak in late December, when a very good news was shared soon after. Olubi was finally spotted after almost 3 weeks in hiding. The young cat looked in good condition and was painting as he just brought down an adult Cape buffalo all on his own. But everyone's relief was soon cut short when Olubi was seen seriously limping. One of his hind legs was damaged. Though his solo buffalo hunt could have been the reason, it's more than likely that he was injured by other lions and stayed hidden for days to recover, which explain his seemingly long absence. Thankfully, Olubi was able to rejoin his brothers, and the coalition went on their last hunt of 2025, ending the year with a royal feast and ready for the next one ahead. Now, in early January 2026, all 5 members of the coalition were reunited. They survived half of last year on their own, relying on each other for support in the good and bad moments, strengthening their bonds which would be essential for the coalition's future. They had no idea on how eventful the following months were going to be. But before diving into it, let's take a moment to properly reintroduce each members of this great alliance I often nickname the Promising Five. Kishindo, one of the coalition's fiercest member. Despite his age, he doesn't shy away from confrontations and is extremely supportive whenever his brothers are in battles. He was the one who chased off the big lion Orkarikoi with Olonkera in July 2025. Kadongo, easily the most recognizable of the group with his half-tail. He's a calm lion for the most part, though he can be extremely aggressive when his food is threatened. He's very close to the coalition's leader, as well as being pretty tall for his age. Dubo Monto, aka Bear Boy. He's the coalition's second in command right after the oldest. He's very affectionate toward his brothers, and a bit like Kadongo. He can be rather violent when lionesses are on the table. He's also an incredible hunter, as he was able to take down an adult Cape buffalo all on his own when he was still only 2 years old. Olubi, the limping one. He's also a caring brother on top of being a lover and a brave combatant for his age. Despite his injury, he was still strong enough to keep up with his brothers, and just like Bear Boy, he brought down an adult Cape buffalo all by himself. now the oldest and leader of the gang, Olonkera. He's the one deciding where they go and the responsible of their safety. He took on his own uncle to protect his younger brothers at only 3 years old. They have an unwavering loyalty to him and his decision-making abilities. He's also quite a large lion at only 4 years old. During the early days of 2026, the 5 brothers were seen leaving the Tanzania border, heading back to their natal reserve. Olonkera most likely understood the risk of staying in this crossing point area, and with no familiarity in Serengeti, the young leader preferred to go back to the land he grew up in. By mid-January, the 5 brothers reached the fig tree area, which is pretty close to the Rongai lands they were all born in, but also home to a small lion pride. The fig tree pride formed by 2 adult lionesses and their 3 cubs sired by the black rock males. The pride quickly got wind of the intruders, and despite being outnumbered, the 2 lionesses charged to chase them out.
The female are coming.
They went first after Dubo, who immediately ran off to escape. Olonkera saw it and rushed in to protect his brother. Olonkera took the beating from the 2 mothers until his brother Kishindo charged in to help him, forcing the 2 lionesses to back off and eventually flee from the young males. Right after, while one of the fig tree mothers was being bullied by the rockers, the other left to take the cubs as far away as possible. The tension was high until the dominant male of the fig tree pride arrived, Olonkera, the last living member of the Black Rock Coalition. The fierce lion roared to announce his presence, prompting the Rongai rockers to do the same. Both parties most definitely recognized each other. Olonkera is Olubi's father and the other boy's uncle, but the bond they once shared was severed. Now to Olonkera, those 5 young males were nothing more than rivals. The roar battle eventually led up to a back-and-forth chase between the lions, which ended with the 5 intruders slowly retreating away, defeated. They had no intention on fighting when they came back there anyway, so they wisely decide to leave the battlefield. While the 4 youngest were nervously walking away, Olonkera stayed back, closing the line and backing up their retreat as the group's protector. Shortly after the confrontation, the young coalition was seen back around the Rongai area. Though they kept their distance from their natal pride, the brothers managed to rejoin their sisters, who had permanently split from the pride. The siblings easily linked back up despite the months-long separation, but only 4 of the young males were present, and it didn't take long to identify and find the missing one. Olubi. he left the coalition to go on mating with 2 lionesses. The 2 girls he found are younger sisters to the Black Rock males and without a fixed territory. Ulubi enjoyed the date, but eventually went back to his brothers and sisters. The sibling group lasted for a few days, resting, hunting, and feasting together. Surprisingly, the young males, despite their prior mating experiences, didn't show any romantic interest toward their sisters. It was simply a group of cats who grew up together, and despite having learned to survive separately during the past months, they still genuinely love and respect each other. The 5 young males later left their sisters and went back around the fig tree area where they found a carcass. A free meal, it looked like. But while 2 of the brothers, Kidongo and Ulubi, were enjoying the feast, someone else walked in. A fully grown lion who was none other than Oloimina. The last Black Rock male was patrolling this very section of his territory and just happened to run into his son and nephew. The last Black Rock male immediately took a dominant stance, intimidating the young lions who didn't move a muscle at first. But the situation escalated right after, when Olomina came closer to the carcass. As stated prior, Kidongoe can be really aggressive when defending his food, and seeing his uncle coming near it triggered him to attack. The clash was short. Olomina stayed on the defensive until his nephew had enough and go back to the carcass. Luckily, it didn't escalate any further. The 2 Rongai rockers later left the carcass and rejoined their brothers while Olomina calmly watched them. Many had hopes the 5 young lions could maybe join their uncle, forming a father-son coalition like the legendary Notch did, but Olomina was not aiming for this outcome. And it will be even more clear the next time he met one of the young lions. About a week after the clash at the carcass, at the end of January, Oloimina sensed the intruder's presence again around the fig tree area, and after spending time with the Pride, the last Black Rock boy left to go defend his territory. It didn't take him long to find his target. Oloimina found Olonkera alone and wasted no time to go and teach him a lesson. The young rocker leader submitted to his uncle, not looking for a fight. And at some point during the confrontation, the young subadult lions of the Rongai Pride arrived to the scene and looked confused about what was going on. Olonkera put himself between them and Olonkera, who didn't move an inch, and eventually the Black Rock male left, with the young lions ending the confrontation and allowing Olonkera to leave the scene unarmed. Now in early February, the brothers were seen back with their sisters. Once again, they were enjoying a kill together. Olonkera was fine and safely rejoined the others after the confrontation. During the following days, the coalition kept a low profile while prowling to not get into more troubles with their uncle, but they still got in it. A few days later, the brothers encountered two other nomadic lions known as the gardenia males, leading to a clash. Only 3 of the Rongai rockers were involved: Kishindo, Olubi, and Olonkera. The young leader actually fought one of the 2 gardenia males, named Masakio. He got some facial scars afterward, and at some point, his 2 brothers and him had to retreat during the clash. While Olubi and Kishindo were running away, Olonkera was walking at the back, closing the line like he did previously after the fig tree conflict. He stayed true to his nature despite the risk. There was apparently another coalition involved in the conflict known as the Kissinger males. But all 5 Rongai rockers eventually reunited and left the battlefield. Apart from Olonkera's minor wounds, all of them were fine. Of all stages of a lion's life, the nomadic phase is by far among the deadliest ones. Young lions usually have to survive years on their own before getting strong enough to challenge dominant males for the control of a territory and pride. Many of them sadly die trying, if they ever get the chance to. The Rongai rockers might be amazing hunters, but only Olonkera was big and strong enough to stand against adult lions. The others were still too young to get involved into serious territorial battles. Hence why their leader didn't engage in any to avoid putting them in danger. But they will have to toughen up quickly in order to survive in this cruel world. The day after the gardenia clash, the brothers were seen resting next to a waterhole after feeding on a buffalo. Things were calm until they start waking up. A lone lion had entered the scene and was eating their kill, something the 5 young lions were not going to let slide. They got up one after the other and went for the intruder, who preferred to stand his ground instead of retreating. Big mistake. The beating was short but rough. The intruder quickly left by the water and was lucky to not have been caught by the 5 brothers later that day. This instance was a clear sign of a mentality shift within the young lions. Although they all attacked the intruder, the way it played out was rather interesting. After noticing the lone lion, Kidongoe was the first to approach him, but didn't make any move, too hesitant. Olubi then arrived, and he, on the other hand, came as close as possible to the stranger. And when Dubo and Kishindo also stepped in, the limping boy attacked. Olonkera joined in last, despite being the first one up earlier. He could have dealt with this young intruder by himself, but preferred to let his younger brothers handle it first. They're slowly gaining a much-needed combat experience. Barely 4 days after this clash, another one was already around the corner. In a nearby plain, a lion standoff was ongoing between a large adult male and 2 younger nomads. The mature lion was Olkinyei, and he was standing his ground in front of 2 paradise young males. The large lion was growling and keeping a close eye on the 2 strangers until they both suddenly turned around and fled. Olkinyei gave chase right after, thinking they were running away from him, but he had no idea what was really going on.
They're scared. What's coming? Here. Yeah. I heard him coming behind.
Just a few seconds after he got up, Olkinyei was followed by 3 young lions. He was so focused on the paradise males that he didn't sense the Rongai rockers sneaking up on him. Kidongoe, Kishindo, and Dubo were at the front line, with the leader Olonkera closely following them. Olubi was at the far back because of his limp.
Hang on, Mum. Don't fall out.
A few moments later, Olkinyei lost track of the paradise males and quickly realized he was being followed himself. Soon after, the large lion slowed down and looked back to see who was after him. Only one of the rockers was close behind him by that point. It was Dubo. Olkinyei could fairly easily handle him in a 1v1. But with the 4 other males nearby, the big lion had no choice but to retreat. Dubo kept his distance from him at first, but after seeing him flee, the young lion roared, then walked him down with confidence.
Look at all the white froth. Bit puffed.
For reminder, Dubo was one of the 2 boys who didn't dare to challenge Olkinyei on the hippo kill back in December. He's way bolder now, but still knew his limits. He stopped and waited for backup. He was soon joined by Olonkera, and they both kept the chase going for a little bit.
He's limping. Silas has gone over the hill.
But eventually gave up and rejoined the others. Once again, they won the confrontation. Later in mid-February, the brothers were seen chewing on the remain of a small kill they've stolen from Olkinyei. Soon after, they encountered 2 lionesses nearby. It was the girls Olubi was with in January. Dubo instantly tried to keep the females for himself, but Olonkera quickly reminded him on how the hierarchy worked. The last time Dubo challenged him back at the border, he got seriously beaten and had a limp for a few days. The message was clear. As kind as he is, Olonkera remained the boss of the coalition. Shortly after, the young coalition was seen feeding on a hippo kill they made. They were getting stronger day by day. Though they still had to keep the meal from the scavengers, eager to get a bite. Even Orkirikoi was nearby, waiting for the remains. The 5 brothers enjoyed their meal for some time, and had no more conflicts against other lions for the rest of the month. In early March, the 5 brothers made a surprising move. While following the buffalo herds, they arrived at the southern survey area, which was pretty close to the Tanzania border they left 2 months ago. Soon after, the brothers encountered the Salis pride on a kill and charged in to assert their dominance, chasing around the subadult lions and claiming the lionesses present. After the short scuffle, Dubo immediately became possessive over the females once again, as he was the one who got to them first. He even mock-charged both Olubi and Olonkera to intimidate them. The young leader this time calmly walked away, leaving him the girls. The Salis females didn't forget about the brothers, but weren't happy about them chasing their subadults either. The next day, both Salis and Rongai Rockers lions were gone. The only cats present were 2 big old lions known as the Inselberg males. Perhaps maybe the other lions left to avoid them. Later, the 5 young males were seen prowling and resting around the area. Clearly just enjoying the peace around here. But they weren't the only ones. The lone Orkirikoi was also nearby. Hard to guess why the big lion was seemingly following the young males, but it maybe was to get their leftover meals. And since they were all nomads, he probably thought they wouldn't mind him. And yes, there was some tolerance between him and the 5 young males to some degree. But tolerance does not mean acceptance. In mid-March, the big Orkirikoi was seen at the cement area with multiple recent injuries on his body. He was clearly involved in a fight with other lions, with no other males around. The culprits were most likely the Rongai Rockers. Hard to tell what could have led to a fight between them, but with some roars that echoed through the night before, we can assume the 5 young males, or at least some of them, bumped into Orkirikoi in the dark, leading to a physical clash. The big lion was weakened, but thankfully still able to walk. He will recover soon enough, but will have to keep his guard up in the future. The 5 brothers were all together and peacefully prowling around, but it seemed like this alleged fight against Orkirikoi put an end to this calm period. The day after the big lion was seen injured, the young coalition encountered a lion pride on a kill. It was the Survey pride, ironically Orkirikoi's former family.
And she's quickly trying the son's kill.
The young lions went for the offensive, chasing the lionesses and subadults from the kill while roaring to assert their dominance.
Chasing one of the mothers, trying to tell you, go away. She's standing her ground.
The leader Olonkera was particularly aggressive. Bullying the subadult males until they ran away, scared. The brothers easily got the upper hand and stole the pride's meal. They enjoyed the feast and rested for the rest of the day. But the peace was short-lived. The next day, the Survey Pride's current dominant male known as Bron came back and met the Rongai rockers close to the carcass. The big lion tried to assert his dominance. But the 5 brothers didn't even flinch. They confidently walked toward him, forcing the lion to retreat. They all ran after him for a moment. Until some of them slowed down. Bron continued his retreat. But Olonkera was still aggressively after him, with his brother Kishindo. Just like when they chased off Orkirikoi last year. Bron eventually got away unharmed, though. A big issue faced by nomadic lions is the fact that they need to watch where they step in order to avoid potential deadly encounters. Olonkera and his brothers could easily solve this issue for themselves at this point. They just pushed a dominant male out of his territory and bullied an entire lion pride. It would be easy for them to take over the area. But days later, in late March, the young males left the area following the buffalo herds. And this led them right into another, named the Rekaro area, home to the Rekaro lion pride. After failing a bull-buffalo hunt, the young males met a seducing lioness part of the local pride, and the leader Olonkera quickly claimed her for himself. Once they were alone, the lioness did her best to seduce the young leader, but he was strangely hesitant. As if he knew something was off. The Rekaro area was under the control of the notorious Bila Shaka coalition, a gang of males the Rockers met in the past. They stole a buffalo kill from them last year. Also called the Six-Pack Males, this coalition had 3 members named Kiok, Kibogoyo, and the one-eyed leader Chongo. They were maybe old, but were still a force to be reckoned with. As time passed, the 5 brothers got more comfortable and stayed in the area. Olonkera remained with the Rekaro lioness, but he had no idea on what was coming. The next day, the young males were relaxed. But a coming storm was going to disturb their peace. The 3 Bilashaka males were on their way to confront them. The experienced veterans have quickly noticed the young males' presence and easily tracked them down to teach them a lesson.
How dark he is. Lisa Chongo is a Swahili name. It means young male.
It didn't take long before both parties faced each other. Two of the 6-pack males encountered Olonkera with the Rekaro female.
They want to own this territory. You can see Kyok there on the frame. And there are 5. These are how the war starts. And you can see Olonkera is not really backing down.
The young leader understood the situation and didn't panic. He stood his ground despite being outnumbered.
Up like that, which means he's serious. You just saw Olonkera tail up. Brothers. It's not really a good idea for this boy to go alone to try to challenge these 5 boys. The boys are not afraid because they have already tested the waters. They had a fight with
Kyok and Kibogoyo didn't try to push him away and kept the standoff going. Soon after Olonkera was joined by his half-tail brother Kidongo-e, the young lion tried to stood next to his big brother. He instantly locked eyes with Kibogoyo, leading to a brief stare-down.
Must be very careful because he's...
But the old lion sensed a crack in the youngster's confidence and decided to go after him.
There we have Kyok.
Kibogoyo easily pushed him away,
So we'll be crossing this small lagoon.
sparking the clash. Kyok quickly charged and was followed by Chongo. Olonkera knew they were no match against those 3.
4 boys.
This time, the 5 brothers had to retreat, or else.
We'll just wait for him to cross and then we proceed. We can see what...
After a first chase, the 6-pack male slowed down a bit, and the Rongai rockers were seen resting under a tree, all safe. But only 4 of them were there. The missing one was the leader, Olonkera. They splitted during the chase. The young leader was now somewhere alone in the bush, and his 4 younger brothers were worried and softly calling him, but got no response. The Bilashakas heard their roars and later restarted the chase. The 4 brothers had to leave as fast as possible, and they did, but still inevitably bumped into the 6-pack males later on. An intense standoff took place between the lions. The 4 young males stood their ground, trying to look as tough as possible in front of the old males. But without their leader, their lack of confidence was obvious. The 6-pack leader Chongo charged in first, forcing them to flee and scatter away. The one-eyed lion kept pursuing them, and at some point, almost got hold of Kishindo in the bush.
Looks very serious. Sorry. Oh, that's very dangerous. That's really dangerous. Oh, he caught.
But let him escape. As night falls, things could either calm down or end horribly.
That's really dangerous.
The next morning, everything was eerily calm, like the chaos of yesterday never even existed. The Bilashaka males were prowling in the Rakero area. The old guard successfully defended their territory, like they have done for the last several years. But one question was lingering on everyone's mind. Have the 6-pack males actually injured one of the Rongai rockers? Or worse? The answer was quickly given. In the early morning, 2 of the brothers were seen resting beside each other. It was the hunter, Dubo Mtoto, and the young leader Olonkera. The oldest boy was fine. Most of the concern was about him, after he had splitted from his brothers during the clash, but thankfully, he didn't suffer any injury, and so did all of his younger brothers. They got lucky. They could have suffered heavy damages from the battle. But that's still more experience to learn from. Later, while Olonkera and Dubo were relaxing together, the 3 other boys were attempting to hunt some buffaloes in a nearby plain. But failed. They moved around afterwards, but they soon encountered a familiar face. The Survey Pride dominant male Braun. After being chased by the rockers 2 weeks ago, he kept a low profile and was mostly seen around the Rongai area. The big lion just hunted a warthog, but won't be able to enjoy his meal. Upon spotting the lone lion, 2 of the brothers, Kidangoe and Kishindo, instantly rushed at him. Outnumbered, Braun had to retreat, but won't be able to escape. The beating was short, and luckily the big lion got away with minor bites from the young lions. Kidangoe and Kishindo soon turned back and went for the small kill made by Braun. This scene was an impressive display of these youngsters' confidence. Despite the big loss they suffered against the Bilashakas, they still very much won't become pushovers. Now in April 2026, the young coalition was pretty different compared to the last months. The few battles they have been in definitely changed their overall demeanor. They were now both more assertive and aggressive.
And definitely this is the boy that we were looking yesterday that was not with the R5, Olonkera, who is the oldest of the 5. And potentially this is one of the Rekero girls. What a great morning start.
In the early days of April, the 5 brothers made a surprising move. They went back to the Rekero area, and not only that, but they also roared to announce their presence. A pretty bold and cocky move considering what happened the last time. Olonkera knew the odds now. Bringing his brothers back here was a serious act of defiance. Though it seemed like the young leader had an idea, he still had to remember that one mistake could cost him either his life or one of his brothers. After coming back in the area, the brothers met the same Rekero lioness once again. As expected, Olonkera got back with her, and one morning, they both isolated themselves from the others, as mating lions do.
To the southern part of where we are. And definitely, there is something in the horizon. There's another male lion. The head is up.
The 2 cats were enjoying the moment when they suddenly spotted another lion approaching them. And it wasn't one of the younger boys. It was the big Olkinyei.
Who is that boy? And there is a chance that that is definitely Olkinyei.
The large lion had recovered a bit from his last fight, and it looked like he was looking for another.
What a scene. Olkinyei is walking towards Olonkera. This is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. We don't know what is going to happen.
Olonkera quickly understood what he wanted, but despite being alone, the young leader was not willing to hand over his mate so easily.
The lioness crossed the drainage line across to the other shoulder, and Olonkera facing and bracing himself towards the direction of Olkinyei. He's moving towards him. And there you go. They're crossing the drainage line across to the other side. Olkinyei straight ahead and Olonkera. And Olkinyei is coming back. We'll try to go and find a better view into the tall grass, but the boys are just sort of running parallel to each other. They look like, I don't want to touch you, don't touch me.
The confrontation was short but intense. Olonkera didn't back down and stood his ground on his own against Olkinyei, yet again proving why he has been leading his coalition from the start. Thankfully, it didn't come to blows as the 2 males, while sizing up each other, ran into the other 4 brothers nearby. Olkinyei was forced to retreat, while Olonkera walked away with the Rekero girl, victorious.
Territory tried to push away the Bilashaka, and they've been coming into contact lately with Olkinyei as well, and that's why all this drama is coming from. And now the lioness is back to Olonkera, and these boys are really, really intently looking because they heard them calling and distress calls when the fight was going on. They had that, and all of them, and I mean the 2 of them, fly to the side. But using my binoculars, I can see another boy coming from across on the other side of the field, just because he can be able to see them from a far distance. Lucky Olkinyei. I'm very happy that you moved away from these boys, because that was not going to be good news for him, who is within our home. And if that happens again, definitely we would definitely be able to look for more action, because they need to push these boys out of their territory. They rub their faces on the trees, they pee, and those are some of the beacons that they leave behind as a signal that they've been here, and they're trying to establish their presence in the area to be known.
The next day, the young males met more lionesses from the Rekero pride. which sparked some tensions within the coalition. Dubo easily pushed away Olubi to keep his new mate, although the limping boy had no desire to fight. Shortly after, two of the brothers, Kishindo and Olubi, chased off a nomadic lion known as Orkuret. The young males soon turned around to rejoin the others, but on their way back, they got a special encounter. The two boys ran into another lion, who turned out to be Oloemina. As expected, the last Black Rock male wasn't pleased to meet them, and showed some aggression while his son and nephew were probably wondering what type of side quest led him up there. The meeting was brief. Oloemina simply walked away, without any pushed back from the two rockers, showing that they maybe weren't allies, but are not foes either. 3 days later, the young coalition was seen moving out of the Rakero area. That was a smart move by their leader. Staying there too long could be dangerous after all, although Olonkera still had his plans for later. But while the brothers were prowling around the Rongai area, one of them got lost. Olubi. He probably lagged behind the group earlier, losing their track. He was contact calling to quickly find them, and it usually wouldn't be a big deal if there wasn't a major threat lurking in the bush. Recently, two lions named the Kissinger males were seen roaring in the area, and one of them heard Olubi's soft roars. The limping boy was in danger, and it didn't take long before Olubi came face to face with the Kissinger male nicknamed Olkinyei. That's how nomadic lions often meet their end. Separated from their brothers, then brutally mauled by dominant males.
These two males are dominant males.
If they don't die right on the spot, they slowly succumb to their injuries later on. It seemed like it was the end of the road for the young Olubi. But what unfolded next was downright incredible. Instead of submitting to the big male as any young lion would, Olubi stood his ground against him in an astounding character display. And in an insane turn of events, Olkinyei, the prime dominant male of the Simba pride, took a step back, then laid down, intimidated. Olubi instantly understood he had the advantage, and wasted no time in exploiting it. The clash was brief but decisive. At only 3 years old, the limping Olubi was able to beat a fully grown, prime dominant lion into submission. Ironically, back in early 2025, The Kissinger males had attacked and injured one of the young Rongai rockers. The two males left him alive but beaten. Just like that, Olubi avenged his injured brother at the time. He is now revered as the fighter of the Rongai Rocker Coalition. A few days later, the young lions were seen relaxing together, not far from the Rongai area. After everything they went through in the first week of April alone, they deserve a much-needed break.
My favorite.
But only 4 of them were present. The missing one this time around is the leader himself. It isn't in Olonkera's nature to leave his younger brothers behind. His absence could imply that something bad happened. But so far, the 4 other boys' detached and calm attitude didn't point in that direction. About 3 days later, the leader Olonkera was seen just 10 kilometers away from his brothers. He was with 2 young lionesses, who were apparently from the Simba pride. The young leader was fine and calm. He didn't seem worried about his younger brothers, sign that he knew they would be fine just a few days without him now. A couple of days later, the oldest rocker was seen resting after feeding on a buffalo calf he killed. But he had new injuries around his head and spine, clearly from a fight. Hard to tell which lions caught him, but it could be the Kissinger males. Another clash to learn from, as tough as he is. Olonkera still had to stay close to his brothers for protection. While the leader was resting, the 4 others went on a hunt. They quickly found an isolated buffalo cow and her calf, an easy target. Dubo and Kishindo easily handled it, while Kidongoi did the minimal effort as usual. Soon after, Olonkera joined his brothers on the feast, reuniting the coalition once again. As of this point in mid-April, the Rongai Rockers won't have any other major brawl against other lions. But at the end of April, they went back to the Rekaro area. They met the same lionesses from late March once more, and Olonkera got back with her. Early May 2026, the rockers were still in Rekaro, but they left soon after, when the Bila Shakas came back in the area. The five brothers kept a low profile during the following days, and later made another hippo kill. A royal feast once again. Though they still had to defend it from scavengers, and that include other lions. One morning, while the boys were still half asleep, an unknown lion appeared in the distance, likely drawn in by the smell. Caught off guard, some of the young males fled, but two of them, Olonkera and Olubi, stood their ground and chased after the intruder. Shortly after, the five brothers reunited. Hard to tell what was on their minds at this moment. But the next decision they took changed their way of living in an instant. A few days later, the coalition was back in the Rekaro area, and they were not discreetly sneaking in any longer. The message was clear. They were now openly challenging the Bila Shaka males for the full control over the area. It was a gamble on Olonkera's part. If things don't play out in the right way, his coalition could suffer disastrous consequences. But the young leader was still willing to try. The young males roared for some time, waiting for the six-pack male's response. Eventually, they got one. Kibogoyo was the only one roaring back at the young challengers at this moment. With the numerical advantage on their side, the Rongai rockers kept escalating the tensions. Until it finally happened.
Animal lover, they are gorgeous.
On May 12th, 2026, after the brothers were done roaring yet again, they found themselves face to face with their rival.
Even the Thompson gazelle is like, oh, what's happening?
Kibogoyo was able to find them by following their roars. An intense standoff has now begun.
One of the boys sitting up.
Only 3 of the Rongai rockers were present: Kishindo, Olubi, and the young leader, Olonkera. The young males were all laid down and just intensely staring at the 6-pack male in the distance. Feeling more nervous by the second, Olubi eventually got up and walked a few meters away, prompting Kishindo to stand up as well. But he, on the other hand, didn't retreat and stared down at his opponent. The situation was reaching a breaking point when suddenly the 6-pack male, Kibogoyo, turned around and ran away. Kishindo wasted no time going after him, and was quickly followed by Olubi, then Olonkera. The rematch was on. The 6-pack male was doing his best to escape, but Kishindo was relentless in his pursuit. And he had his leader, Olonkera, roaring to encourage him to keep going. Kibogoyo knew it could end badly for him if Kishindo catched up and managed to get a hold of him, just long enough for Olonkera and Olubi to arrive. The 3 brothers could fatally maul him in a matter of minutes. The Bilashaka male was luckily able to get away from the young lions, and he was joined soon after by his brother Kiok. The 2 old males were seen roaring, trying their best to intimidate the Rongai rockers. But the 3 young males didn't back down, not one bit. They just kept the confrontation going. And eventually, the 3 challengers chased down the 2 Bilashaka males up to the end of their own territory. They could have kept going until they caught one of the veterans, but they were tired by that point, and calmly left to take some rest. The 6-pack males didn't push back. The result of the conflict was evident. Only 3 of the Rongai rockers were enough to get the better of them. The promising 5 had won.
And want to show you guys our roadblock for today morning. A female and one of the R5 boys. I want him to look up and you can identify him. But these guys have been really busy. There've been a lot of activity, a lot of drama.
During the following days, the 5 brothers stayed together and remained around the Rakero area.
We caught up with Kiyok and Kibogoyo here, and I think there's something might be brewing again in the air. I hear the R5 are not too far from where these boys are.
Kiyok and Kibogoyo were still nearby as well, and only had a few hundred meters separating them from the young males. But they were quiet, keeping a low profile to not trigger another confrontation with the Rongai rockers. They knew how outmatched they really were.
No, we don't care about your brother? Okay. But there is definitely something brewing today.
The old male's only option was to wait for their leader, the one-eyed Chongo, to arrive and decide their next move. Everyone was waiting to see what will happen once the Bila Shaka boss will be back. It was strange that he wasn't there the very day of the battle, but at least he must have heard the commotion and should pull up very soon to teach a maybe more painful lesson to those cocky young lions, alongside his two brothers. But he never did. Days, then weeks went by, and there was no sign of the Bila Shaka leader. He, who was on the front line during the previous clash in late March and pushed away the rockers several times, was now nowhere to be found. Without Chongo, Kiyok and Kibogoyo had no choice but to retreat back into the Paradise area, which was their main territory, leaving the Rekero to the 5 sons of the Black Rock males. During the following weeks, the Rongai rockers were seen roaring, patrolling, and scent marking all over the area, officializing the takeover. They were now the new owners of the Rekero area. Most young nomadic lions often don't become dominant until they reach 5 to 6 years old, if they even live that long. But under Olonkera's leadership, a group of 3-year-old lions was able to turn into dominant males, after less than a year as nomads.
They don't leave any meat left.
The oldest rocker isn't even 5 himself, and yet he already solidified his title as one of the greatest coalition leader of this generation. Seems like I was right to compare him to the legendary Makhulu 2 years ago. The 5 males don't have to wander around anymore. They now have their own fixed territory and exploited each asset of it. Whether by hunting buffalo and hippo at will,
one first jumped on the buffalo, and then the others came to help.
or spending quality time with the Rekero lionesses. There are 6 lionesses in this pride, and at least 4 of them quickly started mating with the brothers. Or at least those who cared. Unlike the other 3, Kishindo and Kidongoe didn't seem that interested in spreading their genes to the next generation. and could straight up get aggressive about the constant flirting by some of the girls. Of course, all those new mating opportunities sparked new tensions within the coalition. Olonkera didn't need to show off to get the message across. After all, he's the strongest. Olubi and him easily got mates without constantly bossing the others around. Dubo couldn't just mate with his brothers close by, and often tried to dominate them in front of the females. He should honestly be thankful of how tolerant their leader is. Leaving aside the fact that Olonkera could easily put him in his place in a matter of seconds if he really wanted to. Dubo didn't participate in the last confrontation to take over the area, so he should be thankful to still mate in the first place. Apart from those little disagreements, the coalition remain united. And they have taken their roles as dominant males very seriously, especially Olonkera, who was seen multiple times exploring and patrolling the area alone. Showing how comfortable and confident he really is. As per the latest developments, the 5 brothers were seen prowling a few times in the neighboring paradise area. The last stronghold of the Bilashaka males, Kiyok and Kibogoyo, were seen with the paradise pride, but are losing condition and seemingly lost their leader. No concrete sightings of Chongo were shared since early May. And now that his brothers reunited with their pride and cubs without him in late June, it's safe to assume that the one-eyed leader is likely no longer with us. What could have caused his disappearance remain unknown. And as much as it could be from a natural cause, whoever know about the 2-legged demons lurking in this place shouldn't let them off the hook either. Kiyok and Kibogoyo already are under the pressure of another mighty coalition named the Topi Males. The Rongai rockers joining in would be a death sentence for the old males. And this could also put Olonkera and his brothers against the Topi coalition, a conflict who could end badly for both sides. But as of now, the new Recaro owners aren't looking for new troubles. They're satisfied with what they have. They have just as much potential as their mighty fathers once did. And speaking of the Black Rocks, back in late 2025, after the legendary Olashipa was lost, I thought it was it for the Black Rock Coalition. I thought Oloemina was done for, and that he will either die as well, or soon become a lone nomadic male. Tragic and disgusting circumstances left him on his own. but the last black rock male proved me wrong completely. During the weeks, then months following the loss of his last brother, Olonkera did everything in his power to preserve what they once had. He roared, patrolled, and defended his territory alone like nobody expected. He navigated between both Fig Tree and Rongai pride to try and keep both groups safe at the same time. His resilience and sheer willpower were unbelievable to witness. But as a lone male, he could only do so much. In mid-December, the two Kissinger males invaded the Fig Tree area and killed 3 of the pride's 6 cubs. More recently, in 2026, another cub was lost, reducing the litter from 6 to 2. This pride sadly had little to no chance from the moment they lost one of their protectors. But Olonkera's efforts weren't meaningless. The 10 subadults of the Rongai pride all made it, thanks to his bravery. The lion, once nicknamed the Lame One, was the only reason why the very last heirs of his coalition weren't exterminated. That doesn't sound lame to me. Thanks to his valiant commitment, Olonkera now had the opportunity to form a new coalition with his 5 new growing sons and nephews. But fate had other plans for the last Black Rock male. In early May, Olonkera encountered a nomadic lion in his territory. It was Orkiret, the same lion who was chased off by 2 rockers back in April. At the start, the 2 males were sizing up each other. But they didn't fight. They had a surprisingly calm standoff going on. And as days went by, a strange tolerance grew between the 2 males. Perhaps Olonkera was missing a male companion after once being part of a coalition of 5, and Orkiret easily noticed it. He knew he would have already been chased out if Olonkera wanted to, so this placid moment was his chance to try and see if they could actually develop something.
But the last I saw him, he was still limping.
Later, the 2 males were seen sleeping nearby each other, prowling, and even sharing a buffalo meal they stole from hyenas. It was remarkable to see such degree of acceptance between a dominant male and an unknown nomadic one. As of now in June, Olowimina and Orkaret are still together and seems to have formed a coalition. A beneficial partnership for the both of them. Let's hope they will thrive just as much as the Rongai rockers.